Now, my opponent and his donors, maybe more to the point, he gets 99% of his campaign money from PACs, corporations, and large individual donations. It doesn't seem to think that any of these are problems that really need to be addressed or need to be solved. He voted for the tax scam that passed just about a year ago, even though it shifts the tax burden away from corporations and the wealthy onto the backs of the poor, the working, and the middle classes. And it adds $1.5 trillion to our national debt. Our national debt is approaching $22 trillion. Every person in this room, your share of the national debt is over $65,000. And he ran for 8 years, he has run on being fiscally responsible. America needs to start being concerned and worrying about hypocrisy in our politicians. He ran for 8 years on being a fiscal conservative, just put $1.5 trillion extra on the debt, and the House just voted for another tax cut for another $3.5 trillion in debt. This is going to fall on you, it's going to fall on your kids, on your grandkids, and on your great-grandkids. This one, as we exceed $22, $23, $24 trillion in debt. He voted to take health care away from America, from millions of Americans, more than 50 times. 52 times he voted to repeal the Affordable Care Act. Millions of Americans would lose health care, including tens of thousands in this district. He supports channeling public money, public education money, away from public schools to private schools through vouchers. He supported the zero tolerance policy on the border that separated children, almost 3,000 kids from their parents, 500 of whom are still separated from their parents to this day. And maybe, most tragically, since my opponent took office in 2010, almost 250,000 Americans have died of gunshot wound in this country, and neither he nor anybody else, for that matter, has done anything about it. On top of all that, he is entirely inaccessible. He does not hold public town hall meetings. He does not respond to constituent correspondence. And I have a very different understanding of how the office of representative should be executed. If I'm going to represent you, I need to talk to you. You need to talk to me, and I need to listen to you. Your constituents are not the people that you come home to hide from. Your constituents are the people that you come home to listen to and carry that back to Washington so that you can represent them. Now, the beauty of our system is that that seat in Washington doesn't belong to my opponent. It doesn't belong to his party. It doesn't belong to his donors. It doesn't belong to the Democratic Party, and it won't belong to me when I'm sitting in it. It belongs to you guys. It belongs to all of you. And it's time for you to take control and put somebody back in that seat who's going to put country and constituents ahead of party and donors.